Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So in this video I'm going to share with you why I didn't buy the iMac 5K Retina just released 2 days ago. If that's a topic that matters to you, just stay tuned. Okay, so as I said in the intro, I didn't bought it. The 5K, I was ready to drop between 3,000 3,500 euros on a new machine, and I had my wallet ready for that after Tim Cook finished all his presentations and so on. But when I saw that AMD logo on the iMac presentation, I was completely lost. I was expecting a 980M. Probably I was not the only one expecting that, and they decided going with AMD. I don't have nothing against AMD, taking this out of the way. I don't know what it is. Particularly that two graphics card, the R9 M290X and R9 M295X. There's no benchmarks, there's nothing that at least give us concrete performance-wise how good it is, how bad it is. So that's my only thing that hold me back and will hold me back at least until I'm sure what that graphic card is able to do. And I'm going to share with you some information that I have here, but even though it's not enough to make a decision, which is a decision that we are talking about, 3,200 euros is not something that throw out the window and then discover, hey, it's not good enough. No, I have to make sure at least that it's not lower than what I have at the moment on my system, on my Windows system. But nonetheless, if I want to exchange one for the other, sorry, I will have to make sure that it's at least at the same level, not lower. So that was my only concern. And instead of just talking here, let's take a look at the screen, and I'm going to show you, well, I'm going to share with you my thoughts and why I'm holding back buying this. So I was set up to, after, let's go back here again, after a few months since June, something like that, I started to do some tests, some benchmarks on Mac Pro, iMacs and things like that, and I used, well, not used, but asked on the Mac Rumor forums, which I will show you there, and a few fellow owners of these machines were helpful enough to give me some rendering, not benchmarks, but rendering real work, real templates. And I got to the point to say that Mac Pro, it's an overkill for me, and it's going to be a waste of money. Mac Mini is not enough, so I sold it, and I just did a video on the Mac Mini, so I'm really disappointed with it for several reasons. If you are interested in watching that, just go back to that video, search the channel, it's just one next to this one. So I thought, well, I'm not an all-in-one guy, I'm not. But if I have to make an effort to, and this is by the simple reason, I don't have my computers to play. Although I use it to browse the internet, to read emails and so on, but I could use any operating system for that. My computer is, or my computers are solely with one objective, work. That's it. They are tools, nothing else, for my productivity. And I decided, well, I'm gonna leave my taste a bit aside, and I'm gonna get the iMac. Although it's an all-in-one, I'm gonna get it because it's the best option for me. And by the way, just because Apple Motion 5, if I didn't need that software, I wouldn't go. I wouldn't even tried the Mac Mini that I tried almost 2 years ago now, which I already don't have it. I sold it. But I do still have a Mac on my house, which is, I don't know if you can see there, my wife iMac late 2000 and 21 inch. So that's the only Mac that I've got on my house right now. That being said, let's go and take a look here why I didn't get it. So my thoughts before the keynote started was I didn't believe the 5K, although the rumors said there was 5K on the line. I didn't believe that. My hopes were that this guy was, well, all of them were refreshed, and this guy would get this CPU and the i7 with 4 GHz CPU, and on the GPU we would see the 970M and the 980M. And if they did that after the keynote, I would have purchased, without thinking, I would have purchased one top of the line iMacs with or without Retina. I wouldn't care. I would have gone there. But what they did was not that. So when I look at this computer here, before we go to the 5K, when I look at this computer, this is the configuration that I would choose. Core i7, and I would leave the memory for later on updates. And in here I would choose the flash 256, which is enough for me at least. And also on the GPU I would place on the 780M. And as I said at the beginning of the video, I would end up with a similar, regarding performance, similar to what I have on my Windows PC. So not bad, a bit lower on the GPU, all the rest would be okay, but on the GPU a bit lower. So, but this is a model that came out on late 2013. We are now 1 year later, and it doesn't make much sense getting this system, unless there is an incredible price cut, which didn't happen from Apple, but we can get from third-party resellers. If that's the case, I will have to ponder very well. But this was my expectation, to see if, and I knew if the 980M would come, I knew that the price would increase, which I wouldn't mind, so I was ready to go for the 3,500 euros, no problem, for the iMac. Now, what did they give us? They gave us a Retina 5K, taking this out of the way, really beautiful display, incredible images for what I've seen, but that's not everything. The looks, it's not everything. At least for me, I rather have performance and the resolution a little bit smaller if possible, but well, I would like to have both performance and resolution. If I have to choose, I choose performance over resolution, but that's just me. So let's take a look at the iMac Retina 5K. So let's select it. Out of the bat is 600 euros more than the base model. Here is the configuration that I would bought with this. Would be the Core i7, which is a great CPU here, 4790K. I don't see any, by the way, I don't see any other CPU besides the 4790K with these specifications. Now, I know Apple doesn't allow us to overclock, and to be honest, I'm not an overclock guy, but I can't seem to find another CPU with these specifications. So probably it's the 4790K, and they just limited the CPU for no overclock, the multiplier in this case. So probably that's it. Anyway, really happy with the CPU. Memory, I would have done my own upgrade. I'm not gonna pay 600 euros for 32 gigabytes of RAM. These guys are crazy in this type of pricing. Forget about that. Now it comes with a Fusion drive as standard, which means that we're gonna get the same price, a 256 gigabytes of flash. Really happy with that, so no increasement here. Oh, and the GPU. This is the only bummer that I have, the graphics. So I don't know what these are. That's my only concern. So I would have gone here, and I'm ready to go here and then just click on ads and purchase, and that's it. I'm ready to do that. But I need to be sure that this GPU is enough to have a performance increase, just instead of showing me a nice display. Now, if you're a photographer, if you just work with Photoshop, Illustrator, Lightroom, things like that, I think this will be a good purchase for you. If you are in video editing and motion graphics, which is my case, more motion graphics than video editing. The most of the video editing that I do is this type of videos, and the videos that I do for my clients are 180p as well. So I don't see the need for 5K. Honestly, for me, I don't see the need. Even the lower resolution of iMac, the 27-inch, would be fine for me. Once again, if I can have 5K, great, but not a cost of the performance. Now, one thing which is what I'm trying to do now is gather information about the GPU. And last night I started a thread on Mac Rumors forum that you can search over here. If you go to the forums and then desktops, and then you choose iMac, and then you search for iMac 5K GPU performance, it has 18 replies so far, over 1,000 views, so it's not a subject that and what I found out, if you go to this thread, is there is one single unboxing, well, there is two, but one of them doesn't show me nothing, and this unboxing here shows me a test, Novabench score. Now, what's Novabench? It's a test. I knew the test existed, but what really tests it? Does it test the graphics just for games, frames per second? Does it, well, I don't know. So what I tried to do was establish some comparison here on the test that this guy did, icrackyourdevice.com. The link for the video, the original video, is here. So if you go to the thread, you can watch the video as well from this guy. By the way, thanks, and hopefully you can make some more benchmarks, Geekbench and Cinebench and Pathmark and things like that. So let's move on. So what I did was try to compare with my system, which has, of course, two different operating systems, so we have to get that in mind. But it has the GTX 760, and the numbers, look at this, 906, 2369 on 3D frames per second. And when I look at this, 183, 594, it's a huge difference. So I'm starting to scratch my head here, and what I was trying to do is establish some similarities on this test, and then we could take it to the Pathmark and really see how this scales. So in Pathmark, my GTX 760 is a 5,000, almost 5,000 score. The 880M and the 780M is a bit lower than mine. So my expectations was, if the AMD is at least with the same performance of the 780M, then it should come more close to this than these numbers. Although there's the Imac Retina, which, by the way, if you watch this video, thank you for your thoughts, and thanks for all the inputs here so far and the ones that came or that will come in the future, until we see really what's matter with that graphics. But in this particular case, which was the first response, Imac Retina says he already ordered his Mac, and well, he hopes that it will perform well. I really hope so as well. And I already asked him if he can make some benchmarks for me that we can share then for all the community. But the benchmarks are more with Motion 5 than anything else. So we can see that the performance of the GPU. So I'm really hoping for him and for all the others that these GPUs really work great. So not really much information yet, but I wanted to compare this so we could go to Pathmark and see where we at with, and for Pathmark I use videocardbenchmark.net or GPUboss.com, which relies on the same benchmarks. And these benchmarks here, of course, they are just numbers. When you look at all these numbers here, they don't mean sorry, they don't mean squat. But once you get one certain graphic card and you render a template with that, or you test the game if that's your case, and then you get another graphic card and you do the same tests, and you get another graphic card and you do the same tests, and you compare the timings of that renderings with the numbers on these benchmarks, then you can get a scale, how these numbers scale, and to see how you could get an upgrade on your machine and be happy even without trying that machine. And we can get an example here with the 980M. Let me increase this. The 980M. So if I go to my system, which is the 760 here, I've got a score of 5000. Okay, and I'm happy with this graphics for my workflow. It's great, no complaints. Now, would I upgrade to the 980M? Sure, wouldn't think about it. If we see the 880M here, very close to my 760, would I upgrade it? Yeah, if I have to swap from PC to Mac, I would lose a little bit on the GPU, but I know which little bit that is. I would. Now I don't know this AMD, how much I'm gonna lose or how much I'm gonna win. Just to get a Retina 5K, it's not worth it if the GPU is not great. Now, the only information that I see, and if you search on the web about R9 M295X, there's a lot of spec sheets, but that doesn't mean nothing. Performance-wise, people say that, and here what I'm going to say, I'm not really sure, they refer as a chip that is used on the 7970, AMD 7970. Now, I'm not sure if they're mentioning the 7970 desktop or if they're mentioning the 7970 mobile device, because if it's the desktop, and let's go here because it has larger numbers and we can see better. If they are talking about the 7970, which is here, one of them, AMD, it has a score which is superior to the 760, which is right here. So if the 290X is somewhere around here, hopefully the 295X will be above this, and in that case I'm gonna get a 5K. In that case I'm gonna get a 5K. I will be happy with this kind of performance. Now, if they are talking about the 7970 mobile, and we are going 7970 mobile, it's somewhere around here. Okay, AMD 7970 mobile, we are talking about 3000, so 4000 on score, and in here, if you go here, 4000 score, we are talking about the, okay, here it is, 7970M. We are talking about what kind of performance? 660, which is an old, we have the Fire Pros, blah, blah, blah. So 680M with almost, let's take a look, 7970M, 3800, and then the 68M, which is on the late 2012 iMac. 2 years old iMac. The score is almost the same. So if the performance is of the 7970M, that's no go for me. I would prefer to buy the older iMac, which would perform better than this. And once again, 5K it's not. I was talking with my brother last night. He's a passionate about Apple. He loves it. I do love that as well, as I do love Windows. So he was saying he has the MacBook Pro that you already saw on my channel, and he said, I would love to get one of those, even though if it was just to connect my MacBook Pro. And I said to him, hey, you are unlucky because you will not get target display mode on this particular Mac. But for in his particular case, and probably there are many of you on his case, he works with graphics, he works with Photoshop and still images. 5K will be great for those kinds of things, and you will not have a performance issue. So for that kind of thing, yeah, just go on and spend your money, no problem. I think you will be happy with it. Now, when you start rendering things that are GPU intensive, and we are talking about Final Cut Pro, in my case Motion 5, and then Final Cut Pro, Premiere, I can live without Premiere having Final Cut Pro, then things will start to complicate if the GPU will make all the effort to go to that 14 million pixels, and then doesn't allow me to render quickly something that I want to render. And that is going to be the major bumper. So hopefully, for the sake of all the guys that already ordered the iMac, this one is not the 290X, M290X. Hopefully it's at the same performance of the 7970, what it is, already lost it, 7950, so you must be around 7970. Hopefully it will be here, which is at the same level of my actual CPU, a bit higher. My actual CPU is here. So 29X here would be great. 295X being above these numbers here would just be awesome. And if that's the case, then I'm gonna get one of these guys, and hopefully it is, because I really wanted a new system. I'm waiting for a few months now, making my calculations, and because this is what we should do, at least in my opinion. You don't have to do the same as me, but before we drop money on things, I think we should make sure that we are getting the best for our money, and we are prepared, of course, to spend that money on it. So guys, these are the reasons that I didn't purchase yet. I wish that I'm wrong on the first calculations that we saw on Nova Bench, which honestly I don't rely on that kind of benchmark. I just don't use it. I use Geekbench for CPU mainly. I use Pathmark for GPU, and yeah, Pathmark I use for both CPU and GPU, just to cross values, and then I use Cinebench for Cinebench for GPU tasks. So these are the kind of benchmarks that I rely on before choosing my machines, and none of them are yet. The two unboxings that are on YouTube, one of them is just the unboxing. Hey, here it is, beautiful, but that's it. Nothing wrong with it, but not very helpful. The other one, he did the Blackmagic disk and the Nova Bench. I would prefer to see the Geekbench and the Cinebench, for example, and that would give me a clear idea of the power of this 290X, and then we could get a closer approximation of the 295X. Hopefully, today is Sunday, and I really need to start working, so I'm gonna shut up. So this is Sunday. We hopefully are going to see the first videos on this following week, with more details. Hopefully, guys, when you get your iMac, do these benchmarks, and if any of you are watching and you have this iMac fully spec'd out, give me a message, and I will send you a file to render, so we can see exactly, because to be honest, I really wish these AMDs are powerful enough, and if they are, I'm gonna put my money in it. Until I'm not sure, I will not put money on it. And unfortunately, there will have to be people using, so we can know for sure. In the shop that we have near my home, which is 60 kilometers from here, it's an official Apple store. I don't know if I can call it that. It's an Apple store, but not owned by Apple. It's a private, but officially recommended by Apple, something like that, which has all the systems there, but I phoned yesterday and they don't have a date yet to receive this machine, so I cannot go there and make the test. If I could, I would, but I can't, so I shan't. Just kidding. Guys, if you like the video, which is just my thoughts, thumbs up. If you think that is not helpful in some way, just thumbs down. This is the way it works. Did my part, did my best to gather these informations here, especially on the Mac rumors. You can take a look there. And on this thread here, just one more thing before I wrap up. There's a thread here where I did the tests, and you will find the Motion 5 rendering times. how did I achieve which was the best price performance for me, with the help of the community as well. So this is my way of giving to the community, not saving things just for myself. So everything I know, or almost everything I know, which is not much, but at least I share with you. And this is it. I'm gonna shut up and I'm gonna start working because it's getting late. Okay guys, well, getting late, 11 o'clock in the morning. So, but I have a lot to do. Guys, thanks for watching and see you on the next video. Bye bye.